Good morning. I am in my working attire where I am not actually talking to anybody today, so it's my bangs are too long look, can't handle them. It's time to get a haircut. Anyway, I love that I always start with these terrible ways to break myself down. Why do we do that? Oh my God, guys, I have so much going on in the thought of this brain. There's so many tabs open all the time. I'm just thinking of so many things, and I just think we are in an abundance of ability to see clarity on so many things right now, and it's just fascinating to me. I've been really thinking. So first things first. These lives that I do are. Can you get out? Okay. Yeah, good. Okay. Sorry, I've got my sweetheart, my little pooch, who needs to step out. Because it's too much. Anyway, okay, so I use these lives. I just was thinking so much that I didn't even make it to my back deck. I usually do these on my back deck, but I use these chats to figure some stuff out, for me to talk out some pieces that I'm contemplating on in regards to my work. And my work, as you know, if you're on here, is to help people figure out how the food piece can help. But it's so much more than the food. Like it is so much more than the food. Yeah, of course, it's really good if you eat real food, and I absolutely have pieces in place to help you put the real food in place. But it's so much more than the food. I've been thinking so much on really big issues that are at the forefront of kind of the cultural zeitgeist these days, right? Like gender identity is one that I contemplate and think about a lot. The automatic gender roles that were kind of like these buildings that were put into, and these boxes that were put into, and more than the gender piece, these boxes, these boxes that in every part of our lives are we being put in. And I really think right now is we're kind of like, I was joking this morning, maybe it was last night, that I feel sometimes like it's like the Wizard of Oz is this all meaningful, powerful thing that is everywhere and loud. And I feel like we have just drawn the curtain back, and we see that it's a little person who is standing on a really tall ladder pretending to be large and everywhere. And I feel like that's what we're doing right now in the world. Like, we're opening the curtain and we're seeing really big issues that we've been blind to or haven't seen for whatever reason. And I'm only meeting this with kindness and compassion. It is a call to arms to open your eyes wide and see how some things are that are impacting you directly. And what is that work that you can do for yourself moving forward? I think nutrition certainly is a piece of it. But more than that, I've been thinking about the constructs of the binary constructs that are in the world, right? Like, there's man, there's woman, there's black, there is white, there is, there is people who have money and people who don't have money. And there's apparently nothing in between. There's a whole lot in between. There's so much more in between than there are in the two binary things that we think of. One, we think of different ideas or concepts or things or constructs even, right? Those gender constructs of male and female. Yeah, hi, thank God for the current generation who's coming up. My daughter's generation. Good Lord, if we didn't have people advocating and talking loudly and coming to the forefront and doing that work to help us uncover the magic that has been hidden because of whatever reason. That gender is a fluid thing. Gender is a non-binary construct. Gender is not male or female. Gender is male, female, and everywhere in between. Whether you're here or here or here or here or here or here. Doesn't matter. Gender is non-binary. So I'm using this as an example because I like to think I philosophize a lot when I have enough headspace to think. And this is the stuff that gets me out of bed in the morning, because full disclosure, I feel like getting out of bed some of these recent months and years has felt so hard. I have a hard time getting out of bed. And I know I've talked about it here before, and I know I'm not alone. And guys, we don't live in a binary world. Food, for example, which is the majority of my work, right? Food is not either good for you or bad for you. It's not like an apple is really good for you and that chips are really bad for you. Anybody who's trying to present that as a concept is missing the point. Food is not binary. Some people can't tolerate apples for whatever reason. For them, apples are not awesome. Also, if you eat different components of an apple, some components may be supportive to you and some may not be. Overall, I think apples are amazing. Overall, I actually think chips are amazing, which I know is like, you work in holistic nutrition. You're not supposed to talk about that. Yeah, screw the boundaries. Screw the rules we write. Oh my God. People, we are at a time where we're breaking down walls, and that is what is terrifying. That's where so much of my anxiety is this notion that I've been able to rely on systems and these binary constructs to make me feel safe. They are illusions and they're not real. How much of this is an illusion, right? So I'm just thinking about this because I'm putting a protocol together for a client right now, and I've been really thinking about so many things of how I deliver what I do and how to get people to know that I'm here if they need an ally, if they need support. And yeah, there's all the science of like, oh, you can eat apples because they're rich in quercetin, and quercetin is good for you because it helps to do this in your body. For sure. Okay, that's nice. That feeds into the binary system, for fart's sake. Apples, what if... oh, God. Yeah, so, okay, so... 17 times open in my head. So, the non-binary aspect of food, when you start to put, this is why I think there's so many troubles right now, and what they'll call orthorexia and disordered eating and this reliance on diets, and people now going, I don't like diets. I don't want diets. I struggle with the word diet. I have an eating disorder history. I was totally anorexic as a teenager, like full disclosure. And I don't think that is something that was wrong with me. I think it was an invitation for me to see things differently. That in and of itself is not a binary thing. Like, it's not like being anorexic is bad for you or good for you or however you want to put it in that construct. It's not that simple. Nothing is that simplistic. And our desire to make things simplistic is a part of trying to create safety, I think. And I think part of, for me, of what is contributing to not feeling safe right now and having high anxiety and this high, like, inability to feel like I'm able to cope is because I think we're breaking down that construct that things are binary. Something is either good for you or bad for you, and then you can choose accordingly. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Nothing is either really good for you or really bad for you. For example, like I keep thinking of sweets, right? Baked goods. In the health and wellness industry, you hear people time and again go, no, you have to cut out gluten, you have to cut out sugar because it's bad for you, blah, blah, blah. Look at the science, it does this, it does that, it does this, it does that. Oh, sure, yeah, and I'm not going to dispute the science. Like, yeah, thank God for science. Really, honestly, I think that's a part of figuring things out and deconstructing the binariness of it. And if we can really mindfully actually see the entire science and not just cherry pick things, like, to be on, I think of the Ansel Keys stuff that told us saturated fats are terrible for you. Turns out he cherry picked the science, and that was not, like, he tried to make it binary, and it's not. Nothing is binary. Spoiler alert! Life is not amazing all the time or terrible all the time. Nothing is constant. Anyway, I'm like, you can't even see where I'm extrapolating these pieces to because it's just going too fast in my brain. But anyway, the concept of food and eating and how you feed yourself Have you been good today? Did you eat clean? Oh, get off your goddamn high horse. Calm the fuck down on that shit. Sorry. So opinionated on this because I struggle with it myself in those days where I reach for the bad food. I spend an hour or two castigating myself afterwards going, you should know better. You're in nutrition. How could you let this happen? Wait a second. Back to the baked goods thing and the sugar thing. There is a lot of sugar in my family. There is a lot of these traditional concepts of like baked goods on both sides of our family. Of like, in summer at my house growing up, it was like pies and desserts and cobblers and pudding cakes. And like you featured fruit prominently in your baked goods. And those baked goods made it to your lunch kit, right? Pumpkin bread, zucchini bread, banana bread, with chocolate chips, without chocolate chips, like muffins. Like, good Lord, we had a lot of that. Because that's easy to take to school. And when you have 4 children, and my mom worked so hard in the house, incessantly so, poor gal. She now says, good Lord, if there would have been a Costco when I was raising you guys, I would have been there all the time. Oh, for fart's sake. Life is too short to not eat the cake and enjoy it every once in a while. 100%, 100%. So that concept on my side of the family, my sweetheart's side of the family, still so much is wrapped in when you get together, there is always a dessert because that is how you mark joy and connection. How is eating a piece of cake not about celebrating? When did we have to take that away? What kind of disservice are we doing? Yes. Boxed, grains are genetically modified, but like super sprayed grains, spoiler alert, are going to wreck your gut. Yeah, absolutely. And wrecking your gut is at the root of chronic disease. But is one piece of cake going to do it? I don't think so. Maybe it'll tip the scales. If you're eating it 3 times a day, that's where the lack of balance is, and that's where some of the problems are. And that's why, again, it is not a binary thing. It's not either have it or don't have it. Because I don't think either of those ends are sustainable or the way we're supposed to move forward. Nothing is binary. Can we go with that flow that I keep talking about and start letting go of some of that binary stuff? Cake is not only good or only bad for you. Jesus! And when we remove some of the nourishment, and by nourishment, the vitamins and minerals and proteins and carbs and fats that you need to help nourish you through the day, which is my specialty, and I can help you with that. Of course. Yeah, you need that. What about the other types of nourishment? What about the nourishment that went into the cake? Have you ever watched the movie Like Water for Chocolate? If you don't super grasp what I'm getting at, you gotta watch that movie. Her emotions make it into the food, and then you see how the food impacts everybody at the table in this Italian family. Luca, that's not science. Yeah, I don't know how you measure that, first of all. So back off with your requirements to make it science, because you're trying to get back into the binary system. And right now, we are smashing the walls of binaryism. We are smashing those walls of binary shit everywhere, in every walk of life, and that is part of what is so unsettling at this time, I think, for me personally. And maybe you can ask that question for yourself. Is that part of it? And if you can identify where your anxieties lie and where some of that discomfort lies, can that be an invitation to go in and say, oh my gosh, I see this. Well, what does that mean? Can I change my mind on it? Can I change my own assumptions about it? Can I make headway for myself to move forward? And can I invite a bit more abundance in? Abundance in points of view. Abundance in different outcomes. I don't know. This is still a thought and process. I'm listening to this podcast called the Man Enough Podcast. Just found it this week. I really super love Glennon Doyle, that many people will probably know. Glennon Doyle does, she's a blogger and a speaker and an author. God, she wrote one of my favorite books, Untamed, came out last year. So amazing. Yeah, I know. Okay, I'll address that in a second. So, anyway, she's talking, she's always talked about her latest book, Untamed, which is driving so many of our conversations in this last year, is about that like, what does it mean to be feminine, and how are these constructs that were built by our society, and how can we break free of those to actually be our true authentic selves, essentially. And I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but those pieces that she talks about, she did a podcast with the team at Man Enough Podcast. So then I tuned into that and I was like, yeah, because like I can't be, if I'm going to try to break these binary constructs for myself through the world in every piece and aspect of my life that I can, that I'm aware of, that I'm able to dive deep, can that be a way for me to reduce my own anxiety? So if I'm going to be talking to that end of the spectrum of the women's point of view, I need to do the other side too, because in nature, everything works at balance. That's how I'm going to move forward then. I'm going to work at that balance piece. So just tune in. I've listened to 2 episodes already. And these are amazing conversations. That has spurred even more of this breaking of the binary concept. And then I always bring it back to my work. So I do a lot of work with histamine people, and I really struggle with the go low histamine diet, because that's a binary construct. Go low histamine, you're going to fix all the things. Guess what? Spoiler alert, it doesn't work. It can't work, because that's a binary construct. And histamine is here right now in abundance because it's inviting us to let go of the binaryism, because histamine is not a binary thing. Like, histamine is not you have histamine or you don't, or you can tolerate histamine or you can't. Everybody has a certain amount of histamine they can tolerate, and when it gets too much, now symptoms show up. How is that not just an echoing of what binary stuff is? Guys, there's so much to unpack there. Maybe I should start a podcast. I need to figure this stuff out for myself. Anyway, if any of this resonates with you, I'd love to hear. You can send me a private message if you want. I just saw somebody say, yeah, I'm really still working on being okay to enjoy dessert. We have been told for so long to live so narrowly between the yes and no, or binary left, binary right, binary male, binary female, binary good, binary bad girl, all of those constructs, and they have served a purpose, I think, in humanity, because it's brought us to here. So I'm not gonna. I think they have helped get us to where we are, but we are now seeing the limitations of those ways of moving forward in the world. And now part of our work, which I think has been highlighted by the last 2 years of shifts, and I'm not just talking about the pandemic, like all of the other stuff that's going on, I really truly think that it is a busting of those binary things. So if I can help with any of that food stuff, binary stuff, I'll help you. Going low histamine can help, but figuring out what else is contributing to it, bringing in nutrition and abundance, and being an active participant in creating your own safe haven is a part of what I do. It's what I do with all of my clients, actually. And right now we're at a height of not feeling safe in so many different areas. So how can you personally bust your own concepts, binary concepts? Where do you see that black and white, male, female, good, bad scenarios? And where is your body and your health and your mental health asking you to look at, to bust, and invite in abundance? That's all. A little heavy for Friday mornings, but you're welcome. Bye. I'm going to upload, if I can, I'm going to upload this to my YouTube channel. So if you want to watch it again, you can watch it there. Whatever. Yeah. Okay. Bye. Thanks for chiming in. P.S.